We begin with breaking news here. An overnight shooting. Alameda County Sheriff's Office is investigating those reports, and now I think we have listening into this press conference.
CHP office indicating that there was an accident at the same location, and one of our deputies responded to the 1600 block of 163 coming up, going eastbound to assist CHP. And when he got in the area, he saw the CHP officer on his back on the ground fighting with two, and it appeared that one of the suspects was trying to disarm the CHP officer. What I can tell you is that shots were fired. We have one decedent, we have two people in custody, and we are trying to work out the details as far as what all took place. The suspects were wearing ski masks when deputy arrived on scene. There was a period of time when we only knew that there were two suspects, the two that were fighting with the officer. One, when shots were fired, one took off, and with the use of our drones, we got a heat source in the immediate area that told us that one person was still hiding in the area. So we do have one decedent and two individuals that are in custody right now. And as I said earlier, we're trying to work out the details to figure out what took place before the crash, where they were running from with ski masks on, and the details of what took place when the CHP officer attempted to stop them.
Did you find any stolen goods or anything in the car?
I don't have that information yet. We're still trying to just work out the most important details as far as, what actually took place. All of our officers, are unharmed, but, we did have the CHP officer who was in the battle on the ground on his back with two. So
is he the one who shot the suspect? Or
so
the other CHP officer?
So from what I can tell you right now, CHP shot and we shot. That's all I know. I don't have any more details than that for obvious reasons. They have to give their public safety statements, and beyond that, there's an entire process of investigating it that needs to take place before I have all the details.
Were they being chased and then they crashed? Or they crashed and then you guys showed up?
So what we later learned on scene was CHP on-viewed the...
When you say on-viewed...
I'm sorry. CHP saw the vehicle going in the westbound direction at a high rate of speed on 580 and attempted to catch up with them. That's the backstory. And that vehicle took the 160, they were going eastbound on 580. CHP attempted to catch up with them, and they took the 164th Avenue exit and crashed. So that must have been what the reporting party heard when she heard the crash and looked out, or he or she, when the reporting party heard the crash and looked out and saw three people. They just saw suspects running from the vehicle.
And then CHP was on foot with them as well?
Yes.
The one officer?
The one officer who on-viewed it, yes.
And then you guys, your agency, happened to show up?
Yes.
To respond to the crash?
Yes.
And they were there in time to see the struggle with the officer? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so, was there another CHP officer on scene, or was it your agency and then one CHP officer was being...
So the information I have right now is there was the one CHP officer who on-viewed the crash, who foot pursued the suspects from the vehicle, who ended up in a fight with the two of the three suspects in the 1600 block of 163rd Avenue. So from what I know now, there's the one CHP officer and our one deputy who responded to assist in what he thought was originally just the crash. And then on scene, he put out the additional information that the CHP officer was on the ground on his back fighting with two.
And he's the one, your deputy's the one who shot the suspects then,
so
presumably?
What I know is that CHP shot and we shot. So
but you don't know.
I don't have all the details as far as where the individual was shot, how many shots there were. I just know that CHP shot and we shot.
And
so
when you say decedent, that person's dead.
one person is deceased.
Are they still on the scene?
I don't know if they've been taken away yet. So I just arrived here shortly before you guys did, just moments before you guys did. So one person's deceased, and we do have 2 people in
Do
custody.
we know anything about the suspects? Any generic
Not yet.
descriptions?
They're not
Men?
given any
Men?
males. I do know that they are males.
Juveniles or?
Not sure. They're not giving up any information at this point, so
they look
they're not
young?
talking. I haven't gotten a look at them, so from what I can gather from the little bit that I have seen so far, anywhere from possibly 18 to 20, but not sure.
Do we know if it's a stolen car?
We do know that it is a stolen car. Information is still unfolding. As I was arriving, we got information that it was a stolen car out of Hayward. So don't know the details about that, but yes.
What would be the next steps for the sheriff's department? This officer go on to paid administrative leave. What's that protocol?
So the next steps is we obviously notify the district attorney's office. They have an officer involved shooting team, so they will come out and they will investigate, as well as CHP. Their investigators are on scene. Our investigators are on scene. So that's where we are right now.
Can I get you to say your name and spell that out again?
Yes. First name is Tya, Tya. My last name is Modeste, Modeste. I'm sorry, it's
right.
pretty early. Lieutenant, Public Information Officer for the Alameda County Sheriff's
I'll
Office.
spell lieutenant.
Did you use the condition already of the CHP officer that was on the ground? How is he doing?
All of the officer and the deputy that were involved, they are okay.
And they're men as well,
okay.
male?
Yes.
All males?
Yes.
Who's the lead agency to investigate, you or CHP?
The Alameda County Sheriff's Office, we are taking the investigation on the criminal portion of it, and CHP will be taking the crash.
And then the 3 suspects weren't armed. They were trying to disarm the officer. That's right. They didn't have their own weapons.
So far that I know, they obviously have to still search this area. There's a lot that needs to happen before we can definitively say that there were no weapons involved. But what I will say is, at the time that our deputy showed up and the 2 suspects were on the ground fighting the CHP officer, they were trying to disarm him.
So, sorry, one last one. There's a suspect that was fighting the officer, then the 2 others. And you said at one point you only thought there were 2. That third person, was that one of the 2 that you eventually arrested, or how did kind of just clarify?
So those details are still being worked out. What I know is that 2 were fighting the CHP officer.
2 were
and 2 were fighting the CHP officer, and the third person, I believe, was the individual that was hiding that our UAVs were able to get a heat source and find. But as I said, still working out the details. Not 100% sure as to, how it, right, not 100% sure as to whether
Backyard or?
hiding, right in the general area.
Okay.
Not sure if they were in a backyard or a side yard or whatever, but they were basically in the general area hiding.
This was around 2 a.m.?
Just before 2 a.m.